I bet this has always been keeping you up at night. How do you change a tyre when you get a flat tyre on your vehicle? So I'm here with my friend Ads, by the way, so don't just go into any random tyre fitter's van. I am in this van with permission.
The first thing you need to do before we take the wheel off is, as you can see, we have four bolts holding the wheel on the car. One of them is slightly different. That's what we call a locking wheel nut, and you need a key to take that off. So the first thing we always do is take that off first by hand, and we put it back on by hand, and that's simply so that we don't damage it from inside or we don't damage the bolt.
Look at that. Look at that job there. That's solid.
That's made it a hell of a lot easier.
Very nice, very nice. Any F1 teams interested, let him know. His CV is open.
And there we have it.
Bang.
We always make sure that there's no buckles and that there's no cracks inside the rim. Make sure everything's okay so that the new tyre will go on and there'll be no further problems. And Dave, you were quite close to your legal limit there. Shall we show you what the legal? Shall we show you what the legal limit is?
We don't talk about that one.
These little lines there inside the tyre tread. That's your wear bar on your legal limit. So when your tyre tread gets to the same level as those little bars, you've hit your legal limit. So you can see you're quite close there.
Okay.
And you've got a wheel alignment problem here. As you can see, the tyre's worn on the inside.
It is awful, isn't it?
Compared to this side, which means after putting a new tyre on, you really do need to get your wheel alignment sorted.
Yeah, yeah.
Which I'll do for free for you.
There we go. Happy days. Happy. Alan, so this is something that I've actually done in the past as well.
And that's your tyre changing machine.
Yeah.
Now, in order to change a tyre, the first thing we need to do is break the tyre off the bead, so it's easier to take it off the rim, which is what we're going to do now. Sweet.
Show us how it's done.
Break it from the outside. I've actually done this before. You had experience at the beginning of summer.
Maybe it's quite loud.
It is. So we've made sure that there's no weights inside there. Take out the center cap for balancing when we balance it. As you can see, there's some corrosion inside the hole there, so we'll give that a little bit of a clean.
Very much so, mate. This wheel is
with a wire brush, so that when we put the wheel back on the car, it'll go on nicely.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It's Honda Jazz, mate. Indestructible. Right.
Wheel on the machine.
Right, show us how it's done. Now, this is the more complicated bit for me as well. I've tried this before.
And like, you did quite good. You did quite good.
I don't know, it's just hard to remember, do you know what I mean? Like, there's so many moving pieces to this one. It's pretty hard to get in the hang of things. Whereas with a balancer, it's a lot more electronic, do you know what I mean? You just press buttons, essentially.
So the tyre's off the bead now. Should be very easy to take off. One bar, that's all it's needed.
Sweet.
Put the bar in the tyre, make sure it's all off the bead.
Okay, yeah, I see. So
and then we slowly take it off.
That's interesting, guys. It looks very satisfying. I always love the way it pops on.
And we put the second one in.
Nice. Take that off. Turn the inside then.
So we always make sure we do a really good job. In order to do that, we need to change the valve. Make sure that the hole where the valve goes is clean so that it doesn't leak from the valve. If there's some corrosion in there, we'll clean it and put sealer on to make sure it doesn't leak. And we also clean up the rim as well and make sure we put some sealer on there so that it doesn't leak from the rim, which is a common problem on leaking tyres.
Yeah, man.
So here we go.
So we're cutting off that valve. Obviously, don't cut it off on every wheel. If it's like a diamond cut or if it's like a sense from one.
Yeah, if the wheel's got a TPMS sensor in it, we don't change that because that's a dealer part.
Yeah.
But standard valves, we always replace a standard valve for free.
Yeah. I feel like doing this job with a camera shoved in your face.
I don't mind it. I don't get stage fright.
There we go.
We'll give the rim a little bit of a clean with a wire brush.
Yeah, I've heard that one before. Yeah.
That's the rim clean.
That's the rim.
Get rid of any dust. That will basically stop the tyre from leaking in any time. Because we find that normally, even when you fit a new tyre, you'll notice after a couple of weeks the tyre starts losing air very slowly, and that's simply because the rim wasn't cleaned and sealer wasn't added to it.
Yeah, so there's still like some debris and stuff like that in there, creating air pockets in it.
So nice new tyre. We have to stick some lubrication on it so that it doesn't split when you're putting the tyre on.
Yeah.
Most of the tyres nowadays, they have what they call an inside and an outside. This is the outside of the wheel, this is the inside of the wheel. So the outside should always be facing out. We have some dots on the tyre, red and a yellow. The red one should usually be marked at the valve. If the yellow is anywhere further, it should be opposite to the valve, and that helps with the tyre balancing. Right, now time to put some air in it.
Sweet, that's going to pop a few times.
Now, when we put air in it, you will hear a couple of bangs. That's basically the tyre sitting on the bead and sealing. So we'll get that in a minute. There we are. You'll hear one pop first.
Heads up, heads up.
That was one. That was a small one.
Usually it's a loud one. Oh,
and that's the second
a little
one.
bit louder.
You need bigger wheels, Dave.
Yeah, I need bigger wheels for a big pop.
To make it sound more louder. Would you like to balance your own wheel?
I'll balance it, but you're going to have to...
I'm going to have to
give me some
you.
pointers, because I've not done this in a while. But anyway...
So first and foremost, we put the wheel on the balancer.
Chuck it onto the thing. Walk me through it as I do it.
He's got much bigger muscles than me, and he would be far better at this job than me.
So you chuck that bad boy on there. You put the little plastic thingy on.
No, the little cone first.
Oh yeah, sorry, the little cone. See, I've not done this in a while. Probably going to have to go for a small cone on this one. Yeah, it's probably going to have to be this one, I think. Oh yeah.
This is very important for fitting a tyre. If you ever have any vibration on your steering wheel or anything like that, it's usually down.
Also, wearing gloves is important, and I never wear gloves.
Once on this side.
Yeah, straight in.
And then one on the inside.
Okay, so there's timing involved in this job.
So let's start again. You'll hear a click, and then you'll hear another click.
Yes, okay, we got it now.
So
now
when that wheel spins, we'll see whether it's got a buckle in it, whether it spins nicely or not.
Yeah.
That switch up there, just switch it down and then switch it back up again. So when that wheel spun, did you see whether it had any buckles in it?
No.
Now the machine
is zero.
Now the machine's telling us that it's 0, 0, which means it's a perfectly balanced wheel and it doesn't actually need any.
It's because I drive it. I balance it whilst driving.
Now most wheels, you've seen yourself in the past, Dave, that most wheels need about 20 to 30 grams.
These little weights.
Yep, the little stick-on weights. They can get them in different colours. Right, Dave, do you want to take this camera and we can...
Right, let's do it. Let's shove the wheel back on. So, I mean, just on its own, that's quite a impressive time to change a tyre by yourself.
Almost Formula 1.
Yeah, almost. By yourself though.
So again, we make sure that the wheels are lined up central. It's nicely sat on. There's nothing impeding it there.
Totally. The weather's nice and sunny again.
It's a beautiful day. So as you can see, I've put 3 bolts on. I've left the locking wheel nut key and bolt at the moment. We're going to do that last. Let's put the car down.
This jack is worth every time. Every time I see you go out on a job, you pretty much just use that air jack.
Almost, yeah. Dave asked me about tyre sizes and the differences in the tyres. So first and foremost, this is how you read a tyre size. That information there is written on the sidewall of the tyre, so it's very easy to get. If you ever need a tyre, always make sure that you look on your actual tyre what the tyre size is. Don't Google it online because it does get it wrong. Whenever you need a tyre, always make sure you look on the actual tyre to see what the tyre size is. Here we have 3 numbers, 185, which is basically the width of the tyre. And then it was a forward slash with a 55, which is the profile of the tyre. And then 15, R15 is basically the radius of the wheel, what the radius of the wheel is, which is 15 inches. And then here we have 82V. 82 is representing the weight of how much the car load that can take. And the V represents the speed that the tyre can take.
Velocity,
speed.
Right?
Maximum speed, basically, that the tyre can take.
See, that's what I was always wondering about that low number, because the top two, R15, that's your radius, obviously, and you've got 185.
Exactly, the width, the profile, and the size of the wheel, and then how much load the tyre can take, and how much speed, the maximum speed the tyre can take. And then down here, for your own information, every tyre has this information on it. What it's like in wet weather with fuel economy, which you have A to E grading. Even though this is a budget tyre, we have a C grading here, which is quite good.
Let's
very,
go.
very in comparison to some of the premium tyres, in fact. We have wet weather, what they perform in wet weather. Again, it's a C grading, which is still not too bad. It's probably just short of a premium tyre. And then we have road noise, because people don't actually realise that when your car is driving and the noise that you hear, that's the road noise between the friction of the tyre and what you hear in the car.
That's why off-road tyres are so loud.
So if you want a quieter tyre, always look at this number down here. As you can see, there's an A, B, C down there. This is a B. That's a B rating for a budget tyre, which is 68 dB. That's still quite good. So if depending on what you want from a tyre will depend on what kind of information you'd be looking out in a tyre. If you want it good for wet weather or fuel economy or road noise or anything like that. Has that helped you, Dave?
Yes, sweet.
Thank you
Cheers,
very
mate. We all appreciate that information. sorry.
Yeah, we've got an interruption there.
sorry. Random interruption. I had to.
That was cool.
K-trim, that is. So that digitally tells you basically the torque.
It does indeed.
So you can set it to whatever torque you want, and then...
It's also very important that whenever you do get your tyre fitted, or they take the wheel off and put the wheel back on again, that they should always put the locking wheel nut bolt on by hand and take it off by hand. And even when we tighten it, we don't over tighten it, because the metal inside there is quite soft and
it'll start shearing.
It can shear or snap.
Yeah.
So we always hand tighten that. And that's all. And then the rest of them, we torque them to the correct torque setting. Dave, that's your tyre done.
Happy days. What a job.
Thank you.
What a job. Thank you.